I was born in France. My mom is French-Algerian. I never actually met my biological father. My mother raised me till I was about 3 years old on her own before she met Larry Groberg. He took me in as his son, even though I wasn't his blood. He gave me his name and he taught me how to be the person that I am today. When I was 11 years old, we decided to move from Paris to Palatine, Illinois. I didn't speak any English, so this was definitely a culture change for me, but it was an opportunity to come to the United States and I was super excited as a kid. I sort of grasped into the culture. Something that I really appreciate is no matter what our differences are, we are all proud to be Americans. By the time I was in high school, I would rather stay in the United States 100 times out of 100 over going back to France. Within a couple weeks at University of Maryland, 9/11 happened. And I remember having a conversation with my father, telling him, I'm gonna drop out of school and I'm gonna go join the United States Army. I'm gonna become an Army Ranger because I wanna find, fix, and destroy these individuals. And this is one of those lessons that my father taught me. He said, the one thing I asked of you is when you start something, you finish it. That's what Grobergs do. Because if you, right now, find an excuse to quit and drop out of school, you will always find an excuse to quit everything that you start in life. But if you learn to push on and accomplish whatever task that you started, in the long run, you will be successful. He said, you will graduate in 4 years, and in 4 years, you will go join the United States Army and follow your path. July 1st, 2008 was my first day at Fort Benning, Georgia as a new enlisted soldier. Following graduation from Ranger School, we get the call and it said, hey, you're gonna be going to Afghanistan. I'm in the most kinetic place in the world. I'm in eastern Afghanistan, the Kunar province. We were in over 250 engagements that year. I think probably the most important part of my journey as an infantryman was that deployment. My entire life, I wanted to go out there and fight for what I believed in. But when I got there and someone told me, hey, by the way, you're in charge of 24 lives, make the right decisions, their lives are in your hands, that changed the whole ballgame. It was no longer about me, it was about them, and it was about accomplishing the mission. During my first deployment, I had communications with the local populace every single day. I had opportunities to go to different schools. I was one of the first U.S. Army guys to go into a girls' school in Kunar province. And guess what they were teaching? English. In the Kunar province, to girls. That was, to us, that was a big win. My second deployment was in 2012, and I was in charge of the personal security detail for Colonel Mingus at the time. He is now Brigadier General Mingus.
On August 8, 2012, U.S. Army Captain Flo Groberg was serving as a personal security detachment commander in the town of Asadabad in Kunar province, Afghanistan. His patrol was responsible for escorting 28 coalition and Afghan National Army personnel, including a number of senior officers, to a weekly meeting with Provincial Governor Wahidi.
The entire movement was about 1,100 meters. And at about 750 meters, you reached a bridge. We're about to reach that bridge when I saw this kid, 18 to 22 years old. And he just was out of place. I remember thinking, where did you come from? What is going on here? And at that point, everything changes. I know there's something wrong. So I left my position and I went towards him as fast as I could. And I grabbed him by the chest. And then that's when I realized, okay, this is a suicide vest. And so I just threw him as far as I could, and when he landed at my feet, he detonated. Everything went black. And I remember waking up thinking, what just happened? There's blood everywhere. I had blood all over myself, and I saw my leg, my foot was facing me, my fibula was sticking out. It felt like my leg was melting. Sergeant First Class Brink came out of nowhere and drags me into a ditch, and that ditch is Special Spotarama, my medic, and he saved my life. At that point, another medic came in, and I'm asking him, what's the status report of my patrol? What is the status of Mountain Warrior 6, Mountain Warrior 7? Mountain Warrior 6, that was call sign for the colonel. Mountain Warrior 7 was call sign for Command Sergeant Major. The two individuals that we were tasked to keep alive the entire tour. And he told me Mountain Warrior 6 is fine, he might have a concussion. But then they said Mountain Warrior 7 didn't make it. And that's when I got really angry. How? Why? No, I don't believe this. I need to see this. Get me out of this ditch. I told him to pick me out of this ditch, and they picked me up and started dragging me. I'm like, get me up. I got a good leg, I can hop. And when I got to Sergeant Major, I noticed he wasn't alone. And he was laying there with Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and then one of the U.S. Department, USAID individuals, Reggie Abdel Fattah. And they were all killed in action. I spent 3 years at Walter Reed Hospital. I had a limb salvage injury. I lost 50% of my calf. I became deaf in my left ear. I lost the ability to run. What they did for me, reconstructed my entire Achilles and put together my left leg, is just extraordinary.
3 years after the action, in July 2015, Flo had retired from the Army with no expectations about further recognition.
That blast by the bridge claimed 4 American heroes. 4 heroes Flo wants us to remember today. So while Ray Guy's family could not be with us today, I'd ask 3 Gold Star families to please stand and accept our deepest thanks.
This bracelet here represents my 3 Armed Forces guys that were killed. I wear this every day, everywhere I go. This is a reminder that I am lucky, and this is an honor to still be on this earth, and I have to earn it every single day.
Today, we honor Flo because his actions prevented an even greater catastrophe. By pushing the bomber away from the formation, the explosion occurred farther from our forces and on the ground instead of in the open air.
I ran towards the danger because that's what we do as a United States Army soldier. I need to protect the boss. If I die today and the boss lives, it's a good day at work. Tell you what, I didn't do the job well enough because 4 of my brothers died. And to me, it will always be a failure. And then I will take that to my grave and I live with it the rest of my life. Every day I try to do something positive in the world. Maybe saying hello to a stranger, or thank you, or shaking a hand. And I hope that eventually that builds up to me being a good person and earning the fact that I'm still on this earth.